Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk Mecha News. Hi, I'm Luke Owen. Have yourself a super click party? Right, so I'm going to super kick the bottle cap off, right? Yeah, okay, all right, ready for this. Super click. Ah. Oh. Did I get it? Nailed it! Give us a subscribe, press the thumbs up, and leave a comment down below to answer our question of the day. What day of the week do you want AEW's TV show to air on? We've got a packed show of news for you today, including details on that AEW TV deal, Impact Wrestling getting a new TV deal, and the backstage reaction to Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff taking over as executive directors of Raw and SmackDown. Click the timestamps down below to jump to any of those stories, but first, Bray Wyatt's new Firefly Funhouse character has been one of the most captivating parts of WWE TV in 2019, with its very clever self-referential humor, knowing winks to the audience, and the unmitigated terror of Bray's new mask from special effects maestro Tom Savini. And while it appears as though Firefly Funhouse is done for the time being, Bray is now bleeding into our own reality with his puppet friends Abby the Witch, Huskus, and Bird Raptor appearing in the backgrounds of Raw and SmackDown. Part of Bray's redemption shtick has been making amends with his previous foes in WWE, including Roman Reigns, Chris Jericho, and The Rock, whom he clashed with at WrestleMania 32, leading to The Rock beating Rowan in the quickest Mania match in history. Bray previously tweeted The Rock, "I wanted you to know I forgive you for exploiting my love of frozen pizza pockets in front of the world's largest wrestling crowd. Through therapy and the Muscle Man dance, I'm all better now. P.S. Jumanji was fire emoji." He's not wrong, Jumanji really was fire emoji. And it would seem as though the Great One has decided to become the Understanding One, tweeting back to Bray, "Dear Bray, I'm pleased to hear your therapy has been successful. Frozen pizza pocket vulnerability is not easy to expose. You're a better man for it, and I'm proud of you. And yes, you will love the new Jumanji this Christmas. P.S. You're bat S-word crazy, and I love it." Blimey, Rock, with that sort of language, you'll get a commentary job on Raw in no time. Someone else Bray could reach out to is his former new Nexus leader, CM Punk. Halo Segway experience achieved! And it was announced yesterday that Punk's latest film offering Rabid will be premiering at Fright Fest 2019 in London this August. The film is directed by the Soskers, who also directed WWE Studios' Vendetta starring The Big Show and Superman, and will also star AJ Lee. Here's a clip of Punk from the trailer.
Where can I take you, Rose?
Nowhere.
Ow!
Too rough for you?
CM Punk not to AEW confirmed. And speaking of AEW, we might have learned details of their TV show, which will debut later this year. Prior to the promotion's first show, Double or Nothing, AEW announced they will be airing on TNT, thought to be around the time of when SmackDown moves from the USA Network to Fox. Since then, we've not heard much else about a time and start date for the show, other than Tony Khan telling Steve Austin on his podcast that it will be a primetime show for 2 hours. Well, now Dave Meltzer has reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that we should expect to see AEW's weekly TV show kick off on Wednesday, October 2nd, 2019, and will air from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Meltzer adds that that's the current plan, but that could still change, but at this point I'd say the odds that's the slot are extremely strong. This would mean that AEW will air on ITV4 in the UK at 1 a.m, and it will go head-to-head with NXT on the WWE Network for its first hour. But AEW are not the only company with TV deals in their eyes. It's been a rough 2019 for Impact Wrestling in terms of TV. While the product has been very good, their current primetime slot on Pursuit is tracking so low in the ratings that it's hard to find concrete data about how many viewers they're pulling in, a far cry from consistently having 1 million viewers every week while on Spike. The show does also air on their Twitch channel, but is pulling in around the same numbers as Pursuit. So Impact fans were likely happy to hear the news this week from Voices of Wrestling, who reported that Impact were in talks of moving their their show from Pursuit to Access later this year, the same station that airs New Japan in the US. Voices of Wrestling note that the deal isn't done yet, and Dave Meltzer reached out to Access, who told him, "We don't comment on rumors," which Meltzer points out is not a denial of talks. And Impact Wrestling will be holding their annual Slammiversary show this weekend from Dallas. Slammiversary 17, which is the same number as one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time, will be headlined by Brian Cage defending his Impact World Championship against Michael Elgin, while Rich Swann defends his X Division Championship against Johnny Impact, and LAX defends their tag team titles against the Rascals. Taya Valkyrie will also defend her Knockouts Championship against Rosemary, Su Yung, and Jessica Havoc in a Monsters Ball match, while Moose clashes with Rob Van Dam, Eddie Edwards and Killer Cross have a First Blood match, and Sami Callihan takes on Tessa Blanchard in an intergender match. One of the wrestlers on that card also recently announced that she's sticking with Impact Wrestling. Despite her bunny buddy Ali telling WrestleTalk that she'd like to see Rosemary join her in All Elite Wrestling, Rosemary told TV Insider that she was staying with Impact due to the creative freedom she gets there, saying working with James Mitchell and Jimmy Jacobs has given her Broken Hardy's level of creative control over her character. It's my belief that there is something to be said for being creatively fulfilled in a company. That's what I get at Impact. I've always been a bit of a minimalist. As long as my bills are paid, I'm happy. I don't need a lot. The creativity side is far more valuable to me than an overflowing bank account I'm never going to spend. Speaking of people bringing up bank accounts, calm down, Seth Rollins. Will Ospreay's Frontline Wrestling, who are partnered with us here at WrestleTalk, will be holding their first show from Nottingham this Saturday, which will see the fantastic Scotty Davis take on WrestleTalk's own scholarship winner Callum Newman. And after that, in the very same building, you can watch WrestleGate Pro's epic Emerald Grand Prix tournament in the evening, which will also feature matchups between Guns, Bobby Guns, and Nathan Cruz. Get your tickets for both shows using the links in the video description below. WrestleTalk are extremely proud to be supporting these promotions, so support WrestleTalk and support indie wrestling by getting your tickets for Frontline and WrestleGate Pro this Saturday. In a somewhat surprising bit of news from last week, it was reported by Sports Illustrated and later confirmed by WWE, gee, I wonder how Sports Illustrated got that story, that former ECW head honcho Paul Heyman would be overseeing Raw as executive director, while former WCW head honcho Eric Bischoff will be taking on the same role for SmackDown Live. Between this news, TNT airing pro wrestling, Toy Story being #1 at the box office, Godzilla and Child's Play having new movies, Final Fantasy VII being one of Sony's key PlayStation games, and Disney gearing up for the release of The Lion King, you'd be forgiven for asking what year it really was. It was reported that both men won't have full creative control over either show until after Extreme Rules next Sunday, but many fans felt Heyman's fingerprints were all over this past Monday's Raw, with its chaotic Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley opening segments, Corey Graves saying a naughty word, and the cameos from the Street Profits. PW Insider reported following the show that Heyman's ideas were being implemented slowly, while Dave Meltzer is reporting that Heyman did have his fingers over some of the creative portions of Raw. In fact, Meltzer is reporting that while Vince McMahon and Ed Koskey ran the production meeting, Heyman was responsible for 2 segments directly, the Braun and Bobby opening and the Mike and Maria Kanellis pregnancy angle, adding that the AJ Styles heel turn and the club reformation was planned for weeks ahead of Heyman's new position announcement. And that's very interesting, as while the episode was praised way more than most episodes in 2019, the pregnancy angle was the most criticized portion of the show, with Brian Alvarez of Figure 4 Online calling it the biggest one-night burial of a person he'd ever seen. Meltzer adds that the backstage reaction to Heyman's position has been mixed, but mostly positive. The same cannot be said, however, for Bischoff on SmackDown. Meltzer noted last week in The Observer that a number of people who were there in TNA while he was there were stunned at the announcement, noting it showed just how little McMahon had actually followed the industry. He adds in the latest Observer, one person involved with this noted that Bischoff has even less modern product knowledge than feared. This has been backed up by the very reliable Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, who has reported that one wrestler backstage told him it couldn't possibly get worse. The same wrestler added, Vince is still in charge, so that's all you really need to know. One of the other questions over the hiring of Heyman and Bischoff for these roles is why NXT head honcho Triple H wasn't given the nod instead. It's been noted that Triple H certainly has more modern-day knowledge than Bischoff and has run multiple successful shows with NXT, which are thought to be the best product WWE puts out. Meltzer has since reported on Wrestling Observer Radio that the feeling is Vince doesn't want Triple H to get the blame if this all goes south and the ratings don't increase, with the fault instead laying at the feet of Heyman and Bischoff, essentially saying that Triple H is too valuable to fail in a new role. And speaking of Bischoff's WCW, Kayla Segway experience achieved! A bastardized version of his product team with ECW to take on Team WWF at Invasion 2001, which is just one of the suggestions for this month's Patreon-exclusive podcast, Wrestle Ramble Extra. Also available to vote for is Bash at the Beach 1996, The Great American Bash 2005, ECW Heatwave 1999, New Japan's 2015 Dominion, and more. Currently leading the way is Invasion with a commanding lead, but that all could change before the poll closes this weekend. Become a Pledge Hammer on Patreon today to get involved. Thank you for watching, and a special thank you to those Patreon Pledge Hammers, some of which you can see scrolling their way into my stomach. Are the Hearthstone cards too sexy? Didn't even know such a thing existed. Click the Screen Stalker video to find out more. I've been Luke Owen, and that were Mecha Wrestling.